Controlling your own environment. The only person we have control over during this entire nightmare is ourselves. We don't have any control over our children, our ex, surrogates, flying monkeys. The only thing that we can control is ourselves. That can be a really tough thing to come to grips with, because as this progresses and at the beginning stages of it starts to really get worse, it can be really tough because you want to fight everything. You want to expose your ex. You want to inform the flying monkeys that they're wrong and that they're being manipulated. But at the core of this, the number one priority that we have, the one priority that we have to keep focused on, is that we have to keep our own environment stable. You have to keep your own environment stable. The key part on this is that you can't fight multiple battles when your home base, your home environment, is not stable. If it's crumbling around you and you're trying to deal with all these other situations, you're not going to have the strength to do it, right? Because you just can't handle so much pressure. As things start falling in, it just creates this cascade effect that starts to build on itself and makes everything seem to appear a lot worse. So if your home base, your home environment isn't stable, then as these other incidents and events and things come to light, it is going to chip away at your own stability and, like I said before, your ability to fight this. Now, we're going to have a lot of influencers that are trying to help, trying to participate, trying to guide us. Some of those are going to be very positive. Some of those will help keep you stable. Some of those will help keep you focused on what's important, minimizing the negative trauma that's happening. But others are going to be subtly subversive. And you have to really be careful of those, because those negative external influences can really be damaging. It's like they get behind your defenses, and even if they're trying to be helpful, they can actually be really destructive and make you lose focus of what you're trying to do. And the primary focus on this is controlling your environment in a stable and positive way. So when you're looking at these things, when you're looking at these other influences and these external influences that you have, if something isn't helping, you need to eliminate it. You need to get it out of your environment. Now, sometimes this means that people you thought were your friends, you have to take a step back from. People who have an ability to point out everything negative that's going on around you. You have to really be careful of that. They can have good intentions, and they could be trying to just make sure that you're aware of what could happen. Make sure you're aware of what is happening, or make sure you are anticipating what's coming next. The problem is there's a time and place for that, but if you are getting overwhelmed, if that influence is starting to erode the stability of your own environment, you have to take proactive steps to help you, okay? And it's tough because we feel isolated in these things. And because of the situation and because we don't really have that many people we can really talk to about the details of it, some of these people you may want to leave in your support group and in your environment because, quite frankly, you don't have anybody else. And I've fallen into that trap before. I'm sure you guys have fallen into it as well. But what you have to remember, or what you have to take a look at, is it really helpful? Is it really, are they helping to calm you down and get you focused on what you need to be focused on? Or are they ramping you up, making you more anxious, making you more nervous, making you more paranoid about what might happen, and causing more stress and anxiety? And guys, you really don't need this when you're trying to go through this. You have to have a stable base to deal with this, because if you don't, then as the ex's smear campaign and their triangulations and their false allegations and all those things start happening, it makes it that much harder to deal with. I mean, I had people at the beginning stages saying that I was going to end up in jail and I was being played, which so I was being played, and had I made some really bad decisions, I could have easily, like some of us, some of you guys out there, end up in getting arrested, or end up with a protective order, or end up with a restraining order. So you have to ask yourself, if somebody is in your environment, are they really helping? Are they really an asset to what you're dealing with? Are they causing more trouble or more harm than it's worth? If somebody is constantly getting you more anxious, more stressed, more emotional, then that's a problem. And at some stage, you might just have to eliminate them out of your environment. So if you're struggling with this, then what I would recommend is just ask yourself this simple question. Am I heading in the right direction? When you look at what you're doing, do you feel good about it? Is it pointing you to where you want to go? And is it helping you achieve your goals of your outcome that you're trying to get to? In other words, calming yourself down, building an environment that you can actually interact with your ex in not necessarily a positive way, but in a constructive way to where it minimizes the damage to you, it minimizes the damage to your children, and it minimizes the damage to your environment. So if you can look at it and you can say, am I heading in the right direction? And you say, okay, yes, my environment is set up and it's stable. Yes, the people that I allow into it are constructive and they're helping. If you're looking at a situation and somebody is dragging you down, then you need to minimize their impact in your environment. Because if they're not helping you get to where you want to go, if they're not helping you head in the right direction, then you need to phase them out to minimize the impact or the negative impact that they have on what you're doing. I realize that that's really tough, and I realize that whenever you're struggling to try to find and build your support system, sometimes it's slim pickings. Sometimes you don't have a lot of good resources out there. And you can make compromises saying, okay, well, I want to call, I need someone to talk to, so I'm going to call this person and go hang out with them or go to lunch with them or do something with them. If you do those things, and when you leave it, if you don't feel like you're heading in the right direction, if you don't feel like you feel better, if you feel worse about what's going on, then you seriously need to reconsider who you are surrounding yourself with. You're better in that situation to I don't want to say isolate yourself, but basically not interact with those people, focus on your own environment, maybe hang out on some more YouTube channels, get into a chat group or something like that for some other people who can be supportive and deal with that, as opposed to allowing negative influences into your environment. Remember, guys, this is an iterative process. And what I mean is that you're going to be going in this cycle where you're going to be always improving your process, like a continual improvement process. Where I work, we have this terminology where we call fly, fix, fly, where you fly the plane. If there's a problem, you fix it, you fly it again to test it. And that's the way you have to approach these situations. You try something, if it works, great. You implement it, you make it part of your core stability, your core environment. If it isn't working, you modify it to see if you can tweak whatever you're doing or whoever you're dealing with to make it better. And if it ultimately isn't helping, then you remove it. And if you're going down, let's say you have a stable situation right now, okay? And as you progress, things are stable, and then maybe a few months down the road or a few weeks, whatever the time frame is, you start noticing things are a little bit different. That's what you do. You take a step back, you look at your environment, you look at what you can control. Like I said, the only thing you can really control is you and what you allow into your environment, and then you make determinations on what is your best course of action. I realize this is tough. I went through the same problem. I've slowly, with time, removed people from my inner circle, only interact with them. Either I've completely eliminated people from my support system, my support group. And other people I've limited my access to just because they're not as positive as maybe I would like. That's the thing, right? You make those changes as you're going along to try to maximize your ability for success. So at the beginning stages of this is good to know, because you're going to go through you're going through many different processes or many different phases of grief and phases of just the recovery from narcissistic abuse. As you progress, what you think is a good idea today may not be a good idea tomorrow, right? Or in a week or in a couple of months. And you have to have that open mind to look at your situation, to make that evaluation on what's going on and what you're doing and how you can improve it. So again, before I wrap this up, the thing is that you need to remember is the only thing you can control is yourself. You can only influence your own decisions and your own actions. Now, you can do a lot of stuff with your children to try to convince them or try to help them, and it's our responsibility as parents to do that. But when you're dealing with other people, like the flying monkeys and whatnot, and they are not healthy or helping to your situation, you have to eliminate it. You have to maintain control over your environment to keep it grounded, to keep it positive, to keep it healthy for you so that you can deal with this. Okay, if you want to add some more to the discussion about what you've been able to do to control your environment and keep it positive, please add that in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, please subscribe, and I will chat with you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.